Hey, dear listeners! I'm excited to share some digital products I've created to support you on your English journey. If you're diving into IELTS Academic, check out Digital IELTS Academic Reading on my website. It's designed to simplify the reading section so you can focus and excel. If you're just starting out or want a handy supplement to your studies, and if your English grammar needs improving, I've got Digital Grammar Basics for you, which is perfect for mastering core grammatical structures. Finally, I'm thrilled to introduce our latest product, Digital Grammar Essentials. This is where we tackle those essential grammar points that learners often struggle with, covering exactly what you need to boost your general English and prepare for exams like IELTS and PTE. Visit my website at mohammadyazdanfard.com. You'll find a link in the description and explore these resources designed to make your English learning smoother and more effective. Good luck, my friends. Hey everyone, welcome back to MY Podcast. This is episode 4, and I'm so excited to share today's interview with you. I had the chance to sit down with Shayan Shakiba, someone I'm thrilled to know and who has an inspiring journey to share. Shayan and I first met about 9 years ago, 8 years ago, I don't know how long ago, and over the years, I've had the pleasure of taking his class on 3 different occasions, each with unique goals in mind. Shayan is truly a versatile individual. Not only does he hold a degree in computer engineering, but he's also passionate about playing the piano, capturing moments through photography, though he's not actively pursuing it now. And he even plays badminton professionally. Combined with his commitment and dedication to mastering English, it's easy to see why he's such a fascinating guest. In this episode, Shayan opens up about his early days learning English, sharing the creative methods he used and still uses to sharpen his skills. He talks about his mistakes he had to unlearn and shares tips for those of you working to improve faster. He also discusses how mastering English has transformed his life from academics to personal growth. And for those gearing up for the IELTS test, Shayan's experiences offer invaluable insights. He shares the challenges he encountered during his preparation, how he overcame his biggest fears, his techniques for staying calm on test day, and how he ultimately achieved an overall score of 8 on the IELTS Academic. If you're feeling anxious about IELTS, his advice is something you won't want to miss. So let's jump into my conversation with Shayan Shakiba and hear his incredible story. Everybody, this is Mohammad Yazdanfard. Welcome to MY Podcast. And today I am doing the first interview on MY Podcast with an old friend of mine, Shayan Shakiba. And I'm really excited. Shayan, welcome to MY Podcast.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Great. So, Shayan, before we go any further, what are you doing these days? First question.
I've just I've just graduated.
Mhm.
I did my bachelor's in software engineering,
Mhm.
and currently I'm working as a backend software engineer at Farabin.
So, how does it feel to be free as a bird? You've graduated from university
It's great.
and you did your bachelor's degree in computer engineering, and now you're free. So, how does it feel?
It's great. I'm loving my time nowadays, and it's much better than those days that I was a student.
Okay, and now I want to say something to our audience. Shayan and I first met, I think, around 8 or 9 years ago. And I had a class with you at three different points. First, 8 years ago, and back then you weren't nearly as good as you are at
Yeah,
English now. And you were taking your first steps. You were trying to improve your general English, and you made a lot of progress. The second time was a combination of GE and IELTS.
yeah.
At the begin,
More, I
at
think
the
it was general English.
Exactly. At the end of the course, we switched to IELTS,
Hmm.
and you were becoming familiar with IELTS for the first time, IELTS Academic to be exact.
Yeah.
And the third time last year, we were only focused on IELTS,
Hmm.
and you did a great job. You learned a lot fast, and you finally took the IELTS test, and you
Hmm.
got the job done, and you got highest scores, and you got an overall score of 8. And congratulations again, Shayan.
Thanks. That was thanks to you. Mm. I'm really thankful for your help and assistance.
A pleasure, a pleasure. And now I know I'm being a chatterbox, but I can't help it because I want to introduce you to our listeners. Uh, Shayan, I have done some crazy things. I have done things that I have done in no other class or in very few classes. I mean, we used to say and do crazy things in our sessions.
Yeah.
We would dance sometimes, do meditation for fun. And I think our class, our sessions were both fun and informative.
Yeah,
And you know,
extremely
it
fun.
wasn't like pure fun. You were making progress. You were making
Yeah,
progress. I mean, in general English and then IELTS, and each and every single session was fun.
yeah.
And I can't talk about some of the crazy things we did in our class.
I really enjoyed our classes. Thanks for making these experiences.
Uh, uh, thank, thank you, Shayan. And you are, I think, a versatile man. You play the piano. You play badminton, I think, professionally. You are good at English. I think you are an advanced English learner. And your university major is computer engineering.
Mhm. Yeah,
I think nowadays you don't do photography, but you used to do
yeah.
photography.
It was one
I
of
don't
my
know
hobbies.
if
Yeah.
professionally or not. I think you are a versatile man, and I think there is too much on your plate. Isn't that overwhelming? How do you handle so many items in your package? How do you handle the versatility?
Um, no, it's not actually overwhelming. Because first of all, I like versatility,
Hmm.
and I tend to enjoy having multiple hobbies. And to be honest, it's not overwhelming because none of my hobbies are that much professionally done, and
Hmm.
I tend to just do them at semi professionally levels. So they're not that much time consuming. The most time consuming part of my life is nowadays my profession, which is computer engineering, and that takes a great part of my daily routine. But playing the piano, doing sports, which I do both CrossFit and
Hmm.
badminton.
And by the way, you do CrossFit too.
Yeah, yeah,
You do exercise regularly.
yeah, and I really enjoy it. These are just um, my hobbies. They're not as similar to my profession, which
Hmm.
I'll take
You know how to
more.
manage your time.
Yeah, they're not as serious as my profession. So um, gratefully, they're not overwhelming, and I like the existence of these hobbies. They really um, make my life more enjoyable.
Mhm. And you know how to prioritize those hobbies.
Yeah,
And I think you spend most of your time on your profession
hmm,
and the most important things in your life. I mean, high priority items in your package.
yeah. And an example is photography. I
Mhm.
really enjoyed photography back when I was a teenager,
Mhm.
but unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep on with it. And nowadays, I don't do it as much as I used to do it before. Hopefully, I will be able to do it again when I have more leisure in the future. But at the moment, I can say I'm not doing it that much anymore.
Hmm. Fortunately, you know how to get your priorities right,
Yeah,
and I think you never feel overwhelmed or overextended or overburdened
yeah,
because of following your hobbies.
yeah. Actually, I
Luckily.
think it's the reverse. If it was
Hmm.
only my profession and that I was engaged with,
Hmm.
I would be burned out
Hmm.
much sooner, and I wouldn't be able to enjoy my profession or
Hmm.
my life at all.
Lucky you. Shayan, now I want to ask you some questions about your beginnings, your study system, and your journey. My first
Okay.
question: what initially inspired you to learn English? I mean, talk a little about your English journey.
To be honest, I'm not sure, but I think one of my greatest ambitions was to comprehend the English animations and cartoons, which I loved as a kid, and learning English was a way to enjoy them in the native language, which they reproduce, which was most of the time English. And I think that was one of the main points for me. Maybe I can say I was also interested in using devices, and usually um, the interface required some English proficiency, in which I didn't have as a kid, and these made me to get interested in learning English as a kid.
Mhm.
And I think I started my English journey when I was 6 or 7 years old, which was pretty early, and I really enjoyed the journey.
Mhm.
And I'm glad I
I
started
think
at.
around 15 years ago,
Yeah, it
if I'm
was
not
about, yeah,
mistaken.
I'm currently 22 years old, so it was about 15 or 16 years ago.
And I must say, you've made a lot of progress
Yeah.
um, over the past 15 years.
Mm.
And what were some of the most effective ways you use to improve your English, especially in areas like speaking and writing? I mean, the productive skills.
Mhm.
Because normally English learners are interested in speaking and writing, especially speaking.
Yeah.
And normally English learners uh, try their utmost to get better and better at speaking. So, what were some of the most effective ways you used, you applied to get better at these two skills? I mean, the productive skills.
Mhm. I guess most of my learning didn't have a structured system, unlike my IELTS roadmap. And most of the time it was just casual, maybe um, of just observing YouTube videos, watching um, cartoons, movies, and TV series, or even just listening to some podcasts, English podcasts help
Mhm.
me to
Yeah,
improve
I
my,
love podcasts,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
think um, my friends and my English learners, my colleagues, My family members know that I'm crazy
Yeah,
about
I know.
listening to podcasts and now these days producing podcasts.
Hmm. Um, I think all these things really helped me to improve my speaking. Um, for the writing skill, I have to say it's my worst skill compared to listening, reading, and speaking. And most of the part, it was just for the IELTS exam, and I didn't do any preparation before my IELTS journey, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And still to this day, I'm pretty mm, unskilled in writing.
Mm-hmm. And you think that your writing still needs improving?
Yeah,
I
of
think,
course.
yeah, writing is a tricky skill,
Yeah.
and most English learners and IELTS
Mhm.
candidates don't like writing
Yeah.
much. And it is because, when you try to write professionally and when you are expected to pay attention to writing
Mhm.
principles, okay, for example, in the context of IELTS, suddenly IELTS writing can be challenging,
Yeah.
very challenging, and more on IELTS writing later
Mhm.
in this episode. Okay, anything else, Shayan?
No.
Now, what were there any mistakes or bad habits that you had to unlearn while studying English? I mean, if yes, how did you correct them? Because we all make mistakes
Yeah,
and
of
we
course.
all develop some bad habits. What we ought to break them, quit them. And sometimes it is very difficult for different reasons
Mhm.
to unlearn our bad habits. So, were there any bad habits that you had to unlearn, that you had to break along the way?
A mistake I remember is that for vocabulary,
Hmm.
I used to put so much pressure on myself to learn new words instantly,
Hmm.
and that system didn't work for me for a long time.
Hmm.
Um, Eventually, when I started learning English for IELTS, you suggested me to use a Quizlet,
Hmm. Yeah, one of my
and
favorite. I don't use it, but one of my favorite apps.
it
There
was
is
great.
another one, Anki app, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Quizlet is much better.
I didn't try Anka, but I really liked Quizlet, and the repetitive system really helped me to improve my range of vocabulary, and um, that was the mistake I remember. Of course, there were many more mistakes, but and to be honest, I don't remember them at the
Okay,
moment.
okay. Maybe you will remember some of the
Yeah,
mistakes. I'm sure you've made we
of course. Yeah,
made many mistakes
yeah,
over the past 10 or 15 years.
yeah.
I'm kidding, but all
No,
kidding
that's the
aside,
truth.
yeah,
Yeah,
we all make mistakes,
of
and
course.
I think, we should learn from our mistakes.
Mhm.
Even when we're talking about the English language, I mean,
Mhm.
English language learning, we all make mistakes, even as English teachers. We think that we are professionals and we never or almost never make mistakes, but as English teachers or English learners, we all make mistakes, but we should, I think, uh, each and every mistake offers, I'm not giving a speech, but I think each and every single mistake offers a lesson or various lessons.
Of
So,
course.
now what would you recommend learners do outside of the classroom to immerse themselves in the language and improve faster? Because, you know, uh, part of learning happens in the classroom,
Yeah.
but um, most of the work takes
Mhm.
place outside of the classroom. So, What do you do outside of the classroom to immerse yourself in English or language learning to make progress and to improve faster?
Mhm. Um, I really enjoyed uh, consuming English content as on a regular basis,
Mhm.
and I try to add English related
Mhm.
habits
Yeah.
to my daily life. For example, I'm a football fan and I follow my favorite club's news every day.
Mhm.
And at some point, I started to follow these news.
And what is your favorite team? What is your
Real
favorite?
Madrid.
Okay, mine is Manchester
Yeah,
United. I'm crazy about Manchester United. I've
no,
been a fan for I think 28 years, and I can't help it. I can't help but love Manchester United. Okay, sorry to interrupt you,
no,
Shayan.
no problem.
Go ahead.
As I was saying, at some point I started to follow football news in English,
Uh-huh.
and this also happened for tech news because I'm a tech fan, and I I really enjoy following tech news, and following these content in English really helped me to improve my English writing because they were professionally written blogs and news.
Mhm.
Besides these news, I watched YouTube videos about a wide range of subjects
Mhm.
on regular basis, and I spent maybe hours
Mhm.
each week on those videos, and many of them weren't serious content. They were just some
Mhm.
casual, fun content, which I enjoyed as a hobby. But I believe these casual content, which
You were
I,
liking, which you
yeah,
liked.
regular exposure to
Mhm.
these English content
Mhm.
really improved my English skills.
Yeah, and I think you mean what you're trying to say is that
Mhm.
you learn best through working on the materials
Yeah,
you like
of
most.
course. Yeah,
And I
that's the
think you
point.
are no exception. I think we all tend to learn best by listening, for example, to things or doing things that we are really passionate about. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, you are forced to, for example, do some work you're
Hmm.
not interested in, okay, and you kind of have to. But
Yeah.
I think we all tend to learn much better when we focus on the things, the materials, I mean, books, news articles, news stories, movies, series, the
Yeah.
things that we love most.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you. Anything else, Shayan?
No, thanks.
Okay, and I am a big fan of consistency. I
Hmm.
think consistency is the key.
Yeah, I do
And
agree.
consistency is the key to making progress and to achieving our goals. And now, in your opinion, how important do you think consistency is when learning a language? Now, in this case, English. And how did you build it into your routine?
I absolutely think that consistency is the most important factor in learning any language, whether it's in general, for example, English, or it's a preparation for an IELTS exam. And I think that consistency does magic.
Mhm.
You,
Works wonders.
yeah, works wonders actually,
Yeah.
and you won't understand in short periods of time, but
Yeah,
in
you
the
should
long,
give yourself time.
yeah, but in the long term, if you're consistent, you'll be amazed by your progress, and
Mhm.
you'll
You will see the results,
yeah,
and your
definitely.
hard work
Hmm.
suddenly pays off,
Exactly.
and your hard work will pay dividends.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to prioritize your
Mm-hmm.
language learning process.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you will have consistency in your path,
Mm-hmm.
and that will greatly benefit you.
Great. Great, Shayan. Now, I want to ask you another question. I started learning English when I was in school,
Mhm.
especially high school. I was good at English. And as far as I remember, I've always been interested and passionate,
Mhm.
enthusiastic about English, learning English, and these days teaching English. I started learning English professionally at VLI, Missouri Language Institute, around 18 years ago.
Ah.
And it was a great experience, life changing.
Mhm.
But, you know, um, when I started three years later, I mean, 15 years ago, I
Mhm.
started teaching English, and teaching English was life transforming, revolutionary, eye opening, and learning and teaching English. I mean, generally speaking, English has helped me in different ways and has impacted my life big time, and now I look at the world in a different way. That's
Mhm.
why they say a different language, a different vision,
Yeah,
is what I'm
exactly.
saying. And now you tell me, Shayan, how do you think learning English has changed your perspective on the world, or opened up new opportunities for you? Because I owe a lot to English.
Mhm.
I mean, in your professional life, in your personal life, because
I got it.
I want you to answer this question. Your answer might encourage some people to improve their English or to
Mm.
start learning English finally. Not right now, but you
In the
know,
near future.
yeah, any day now. I mean, in the near future, or at least in the not too distant future.
Yeah. Um, I think we've all experienced the new vision we get from learning a new language, because languages are a tool of thinking, and
Mhm,
they can benefit our thought processes and our observation deeply.
mhm,
And putting that aside, I think English as the international language does that in an spectacular way, and
mhm,
you'll be able to connect with billions of people around the world just by knowing English, and that's a powerful language to learn.
mhm,
Mm, to be specific, for example, in my profession, computer science, um, it can be said that knowing English is essential, and someone who doesn't know English well
mhm,
will most definitely lack some expertise, which is required in the field,
mhm,
because the developers community is a big part of our profession, and being able to use others' experiences available on the web, or being able to learn from online courses and
mhm,
tutorials
mhm,
is pretty much essential. And I, if I had to suggest someone who is interested in the computer engineering field, I would definitely say that you have to get good at English in
mhm.
order to progress in your field.
Yeah, great, Jayan. I am passionate about learning English, and I think according to Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, I
Mhm.
think my linguistic intelligence is high. I
Mhm.
mean, uh, I don't want to brag, but I can learn new languages easily. I
Mhm.
am good at learning new languages. But
I.
sometimes when I start learning, for example, Spanish,
Mhm.
French, Italian, sometimes for fun as a hobby, suddenly English feels jealous of it or them and kicks them out.
Yeah, I get.
And English, has got a special place in my
Mhm.
life, in my heart. And, because as I said, I owe a lot to English. It
Mhm.
has opened up new opportunities in my life. It has helped me a lot in different areas of my life. Okay, thanks a lot, Shayan. Okay, it's IELTS time. Now let's talk about your IELTS experience. Shayan, why did you decide to take the IELTS test? I mean, when did you get serious?
Um, it was about 1.5 year ago, which I started to think about pursuing my studies abroad.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, I made my decision to do that. And therefore, I required an English certificate. And one of my choices was the IELTS Academic exam. And that was the point that I started um, getting more serious about improving my English to get a good score in my IELTS exam.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now, uh, did you ever fear IELTS? Because, sometimes IELTS can be daunting,
Yeah, of
and
course.
lots of English learners out there fear IELTS. I mean, general training, IELTS academic, big time, and they can't help it. And I think some of them have all the right in the world to
Yeah, and I
fear
was no
IELTS.
exception too.
Yeah, and you kind of, I think you fear
Yeah,
IELTS too, and it's to some extent it's
it's
pretty
pretty natural.
natural. Yeah,
Yeah.
to some extent it's pretty natural. Even I think the most professional singers, sometimes, when
Hmm.
they want to, before their performance, they experience stage fright.
Hmm.
It is pretty natural. And, some of my students fear IELTS and they can't help it. And I usually try to help my students, my friends, I try to help them calm down and overcome their fears. I think now uh, our listeners know that you feared IELTS too.
Hmm.
How did you overcome, sorry, your fears? How did you manage your fear of IELTS?
Um, I think the mock test in which I participated in
Great, yeah.
after a couple of months was the most effective
Hmm.
way to overcome my fear.
Hmm.
I wasn't fully ready for the final IELTS exam, but following your suggestion,
Hmm.
I participated in a mock test,
Hmm.
and I witnessed that it isn't anything super special. And when, especially when my results was published, I saw that getting a good score in IELTS is
Hmm.
absolutely possible,
Great, yeah.
and that helped me in my IELTS journey from
Hmm.
that point on.
Hmm.
And I would recommend everyone who is fearing IELTS to participate in at least one
One mock
mock
test. And
test.
I couldn't agree more
Mhm.
because, sometimes IELTS candidates decide not to uh, do even one mock test.
Mhm.
And, mock tests can help IELTS candidates in a wide range of ways.
Yeah.
And one of the things that mock tests can help you with as an IELTS candidate is they help you overcome your fears
Mhm.
because sometimes for various reasons, IELTS candidates tend to make a big deal out of
Yeah.
IELTS. And, as I said earlier, they are right. It is pretty natural.
Mhm.
But when you do mock tests, it's like you're getting closer and closer to the real
Mhm.
thing. I mean, the IELTS test. the main thing, and I couldn't agree more. I think doing mock tests, and now we don't want to talk about them, I mean mock tests in detail, but doing them can help you in different ways, and it is a must, in
Yeah,
my opinion. Doing
I do.
them is a must.
I do agree.
Yeah, and now, Shayan, can you share a bit about your IELTS preparation process? I mean, were there any specific strategies or resources that helped you the most?
Um, of course, I used a couple of books and resources, which were all suggested by you. Besides, there were some strategies, but of course they were changed a bit on the way, especially due to the conditions I confronted for participating in my IELTS exam. I was ready um, to take an IELTS exam at the end of Mordad, but because of some inconveniences and some I don't know how to say it. There were some
Obstacles in your
obstacles.
way,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
and some unexpected uh, things
yeah.
happened, and
Actually,
you couldn't take your IELTS test
yeah, yeah,
in the middle of summer last year. You
yeah,
had to wait, unfortunately, and
yeah,
it must have been an interminable wait because you were ready, and
yeah,
suddenly you
yeah.
had to wait, I think, for 2 months.
Yeah. It was about 2 months because there weren't any IELTS exams.
Something had happened and
Yeah,
nobody could take the IELTS test, and lots of IELTS candidates, their lives, IELTS candidates and their lives were up in the air.
yeah,
And you were up in the air too, Shayan.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that was a complete mess. But and yeah, I was saying that these obstacles changed my plans a little bit, but um, mm, I'm happy that at the end I got my desired results.
Yeah, and you didn't give up.
Yeah.
You didn't capitulate. You didn't, put your hands up.
Mhm.
You stayed. It was very difficult, but
Yeah.
you stayed on track with your goals and you did your best. And finally, you got the job done. And luckily, you got the desired results
Mhm.
or scores you had in mind. And by the way, you got an overall score of 8
Mhm.
and IELTS Academic. So it was a great thing. And
Special thanks to you.
oh, thanks. I just did my best to help you, but you were trying hard, and your efforts and your hard work brought dividends and paid off. And I was really happy when your results, when your scores came out. As your friend, your old friend,
Thank
and as your English teacher, I was really happy. And that's the feeling we experience as English teachers when our friends, our students do a great job, for example, on an exam like IELTS. And speaking of mocks, suddenly something popped into my
Mhm.
head. Before it sleeps my mind, I want to share it with our audience. Sometimes some English learners, IELTS candidates, fear even mocks for different
Uh-huh.
reasons. They think that they might feel worse afterwards because they think that the results that they will get might make
Influence their
yeah
confidence.
influence their confidence, and they think that they may get cold feet
Um,
and change their mind. And I understand what they mean and what they say. So for example, one of my friends, students, feared even mock tests, and I suggested doing home mock tests. I mean,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
suggested, and I think you did a couple of
Yeah, many of
home
them.
mock
Yeah.
tests too. And by home mock tests, I mean I suggested my friend, my student, I suggested simulating IELTS exam conditions at home. And it is a little difficult, and it's not what you go through when you do a mock test, for example, at I mean, in an IELTS center,
Mhm.
but it is better than nothing. It can help you get more prepared.
Of
Maybe
course.
not well prepared, maybe not I mean, prepared enough, but can help you get ready for the real
Yeah.
thing.
And I also um,
Mhm,
I did a single mock test,
mhm,
in-center mock test,
mhm,
and many in-home mocks, and
mhm.
they both assisted me really greatly.
Great, happy to hear that. And now, Shayan, looking back, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced while preparing for IELTS? I mean, and what were some of the challenges you encountered, and how did you break through them? How did you overcome them? Because we face, now we're not talking about your fears. When you are getting prepared for something like IELTS, we all face challenges.
Mhm.
How did you overcome them? How did you, manage, handle the obstacles
Mhm.
in your way?
Um, I mentioned one of my
Mhm,
obstacles, which was the condition I confronted towards the end of my IELTS journey. Um, and the key to pass that obstacle was to just stay consistent and don't get tired.
mhm. Remember the big picture.
Yeah, I remember the question and don't not getting it tired really helped me to finally get a chance to participate in an IELTS exam and do my best. Um, Furthermore, I was really bad at speaking and writing, the productive skills at the start of my um, IELTS journey. And I think just practicing and practicing was the key to get better. And mm,
And by the way, you were good at speaking, I mean, with respect to general English, but
yeah, but
whenever
for
you
IELTS,
were asked IELTS
yeah.
questions, and that happens to a lot of even
Hmm.
advanced English learners, when they are asked IELTS questions, even part one questions, I
Hmm.
mean, warm up questions
Exactly.
in the IELTS speaking, they suddenly, for example, the IELTS candidate or the English learner becomes a whole other person, a
Yeah.
whole other English learner. And but
And I
it
think,
took you a while to get used
yeah,
to answering IELTS speaking questions.
exactly.
So if some IELTS candidates are now advanced, especially advanced English learners, are like, I don't know why I can't answer IELTS speaking questions well. I'm really good at general English. What the hell is wrong with me? What the fuck? So but it is pretty natural. You should give yourself some
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Because I think the most part is about the content. You
Mhm,
should learn to create content
mhm,
on demand,
mhm,
and that's pretty challenging while
mhm,
you're trying to talk in a foreign language at the same time. And, I think best method to overcome this challenge is to read and listen to, in general, comprehend many samples.
mhm,
For example, there are some books for writing samples, or there are many books for speaking samples that they can give you great ideas. And
mhm.
usually, the subjects encounter in the real IELTS test, the actual IELTS test, will be similar to those you will read and listen to in those resources.
Yeah, and when it comes to writing, normally IELTS candidates, have difficulty. As I said, I think at the beginning of this episode, they
Hmm.
have difficulty writing in a good way to, for example, get a 7 or to get
Yeah.
a 6.5. There are lots of books in the market, but we shouldn't trust so many of the books
Yeah.
in the market. So my word of advice, as an IELTS teacher, as an English teacher, go for the books. I mean, the key to IELTS writing task 2 and the key to IELTS writing task 1
By Pauline
academic
Collins.
by, yeah, Pauline Cullen.
They are
They're
great
great,
books.
and I
Yeah.
think those who know Pauline Cullen know that she is a genius, and I
Big
really,
fan.
yeah, me too. I'm a big fan, and I owe a lot to
Me too.
her. I've learned a lot from her, and
And actually, that was the only writing and speaking books I worked. Actually, there were another speaking book too, but for writing, I only worked
mhm,
on Pauline Collins books, and
mhm,
I think they are
they're
just
great.
more than enough if you,
Masterpieces,
yeah,
especially Task 1 IELTS
yeah,
Academic.
exactly.
She helps IELTS candidates learn how to go about Task 1
Hmm.
step by step. And now, many listeners might be preparing for the IELTS themselves, or maybe PT,
Hmm.
doesn't matter. But now we are mainly focused on IELTS because you experienced the IELTS
Hmm.
test last year. We together, let me
Yeah.
say that by accident on the same day at the same time, because I wanted to take the IELTS test too, and we went to the same center, and we had a great time
It was
in
great.
Tehran. Yeah, and I remember after, I think, after, or maybe yeah, after the test, we were together
Yeah,
talking about the things that had happened.
exactly.
And now, many listeners might be preparing for IELTS themselves, and they might be overwhelmed.
Hmm.
Sometimes you do your best to avoid overwhelm or burnout, but it's not possible,
Yeah.
and they might be now overburdened. So, what advice would you give to someone feeling overwhelmed by the exam? I mean, by, for example, IELTS, or for example, PT. I know you haven't
Hmm.
experienced PT yet.
Um, I think we've all been there, and the point is to give yourself more time. You can probably um, be less engaged in the process for a short period of time. For example, a week, you can take a break and um, get some energy, get some rest, and then you'll be able to give yourself a little bit more time. And mm, in my opinion, um, giving time and being while being consistent always gets you good results. And for example, as I mentioned earlier, I was pretty bad at writing, and there was a time which I was just getting super tired from my lack of progress.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, suddenly the progresses uh, uh, were obvious, and I started to notice that I'm getting pretty good, and I can get a decent score for my writing.
Yeah, and by the way, uh, you scored, I think, 9 in
Mhm.
reading,
Yeah.
and you got an 8.5 in
Mhm.
listening, a 7.5 in speaking, and a 6.5 in writing.
Mhm. That's great.
Yeah, but I mean, which was enough. Even a 6.5
Yeah, it was
was
enough.
enough, and
Hmm.
you did better than expected. You
Hmm.
did a great job. But I think maybe you should have practiced writing more, because
Yeah.
IELTS writing can help us learn how to think critically. I mean, teaches us critical thinking, how to think logically. And when we focus on IELTS writing, after a while, we not only become better writers, but also but also better thinkers.
Exactly.
And that's one of the positive aspects of IELTS,
Hmm.
especially IELTS writing. And your overall score was 8, and you needed 4 6.5 fives.
Yeah,
But
even for many universities, four sixes are enough.
enough, yeah.
Yeah,
But so you did better than uh, expected, better
yeah,
than planned.
gratefully, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I just remember one mistake I
mhm.
made. Can I say it?
Yeah, yeah. No, why not?
Um, One mistake I made was that I started working seriously on the writing skill pretty late, and I
Hmm.
think that was one of the reasons that I was
Yeah.
struggling with that. I started listening and reading pretty early, and I remember that I was pretty good at them even
Hmm.
at the start. There were some good results that I got in my home marks,
Hmm.
but the speaking and the writing were added a little bit and later. I think the speaking was started in a good time at a good time, but
Hmm.
if I had to retake an IELTS exam, I
You
would
would spend more time
on the writing. Yeah,
practicing writing.
yeah. I
And I
think
think
that
you were preoccupied with your university assignments and different
yeah, yeah.
things.
That's one of my challenges was the
Yeah.
simultaneous task of my
You,
IELTS
yeah.
preparation and my university exams and projects and I don't know assignments and all
You
that
didn't
stuff.
have much free time and
Yeah.
you had to manage and handle different tasks
Hmm.
simultaneously, and it is very difficult, and that makes what you did last year more valuable in my view.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Just one or two more questions regarding IELTS and your IELTS experience. How did you balance practicing all four skills? I mean, reading, writing, listening, speaking
Hmm.
during your preparation. Did you focus more on any particular skill?
Yeah, of course. Because as I said, I was pretty good at listening and reading, and the work I put in those two tasks was just to maintain my sharpness
Mhm.
for speaking for sorry for listening and reading.
The receptive skill.
Yeah, and there wasn't much improvements that I was looking for. So they didn't took so much time for me. On the other hand, there were the productive skills, which I had a lot of room for progress, and
Mhm.
therefore I put most of my time in those two skills,
Mhm.
and that made my skill balancing a little bit easier because there
Mhm.
were two skills that I was pretty good at, and there were two skills that I needed more practice,
Mhm.
and this allowed me to develop in those two skills much faster than
Mhm.
usual.
Okay, great. And my last question, uh, with respect to IELTS, how did you manage your nerves on the day of the IELTS test? Because I was with you,
Yeah.
in the same center. As an English teacher, I had done the IELTS test two or three times before the one I took last year, but I was nervous too. I
Mhm.
think we all,
Yeah, of
as
course.
I said, even the most professional singers sometimes or always experience stage fright.
Mhm.
Maybe after, you know, I mean, one or two songs through, then they start feeling better. But it's really important to manage our nerves and we should do our best to stay calm and focused during high pressure exams,
Mhm.
like, for example, IELTS or PT. What did you do?
Um,
Because you must have managed your nerves well, because your scores tell us that you manage your nerves well.
um, Actually, your presence was really helpful because we talked. I remember we talked about football and
Yeah, we
uh,
were in line, and
yeah, we
uh,
were waiting.
we were waiting, and we were trying to enter the center. I
Yeah,
mean,
and with the
we were
topics that
talking
were
about, yeah, football,
yeah, I
Manchester
think
United, and
relevant topics to
Mhm.
IELTS, and that really helped me to get more calm.
take our mind
Yeah,
off the IELTS test.
and that was a really good opportunity I had.
And based on what you said, IELTS candidates shouldn't. I know it's difficult sometimes; they can't help it, but maybe they shouldn't talk about the exam,
Exactly.
speaking,
Yeah.
reading, listening. Don't talk to the
Mhm.
other people in the center about the IELTS, their goals, and don't let anybody, pour fear
Yeah, exactly.
into
We encountered
into
those
your
we
mind. Yeah,
we encountered some
yeah,
couple of
exactly.
such individuals, but we didn't give a shit.
Yeah, and
Continue.
we continue. We try
Yeah,
to stay powerful
yeah,
and
we talked about
strong.
Manchester United, Ten Hag.
You see, Manchester United therapy, ladies and gentlemen. We kept talking about Manchester United
Uh,
and Eric Ten Hag,
yeah.
and we try to, get our minds off of the IELTS
Mhm.
test, and it really worked.
Yeah.
Miracles, it was like
Thanks,
miraculous.
Manchester United.
Yeah, yeah, I'd like to thank Manchester
At
United.
Ten Hag for his bad result.
Yeah, no, 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 don't say that. We should.
No, if he was performing good, we didn't have any topic to discuss. So
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. So let's not talk about Manchester United and Ten Hag now because I am a fan. I think we should. I know the results um, um, haven't been palatable, to our liking, but I still think that, so far 2 trophies with Ten Hag, and we should give him more time. So now, thanks a lot, Shayan, for sharing your experiences regarding IELTS. Okay, now let's wrap up. Let's wrap up episode 4 with Shayan Shakiba. And let me tell you again, Shayan, it's an honor to have you here. And
Thanks for having me.
as the first guest on MY Podcast, and we
That's an
did
honor.
the first interview on MY Podcast together. And thanks award, man. Now, Shayan, what would you recommend to our listeners to help them improve their English? I mean, their general English,
Mhm.
and to get prepared for IELTS or some other international English exams, and to help them make more and faster progress.
Mhm. Um, Generally, I think trying to make yourself interested in learning something can benefit you greatly. And I think learning English is no exception.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, I've witnessed many individuals who say they're not interested in learning English and they don't enjoy the process. But I think they can make themselves interested in English at some point. Usually, when we get better at something, we tend to like it more. And like, at least that was my experience. And I think my interest and passion in English helped me to stay consistent
Mm-hmm.
throughout my English journey, both general English and IELTS English.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a general recommendation I would give.
Mm-hmm.
Besides, I want to give IELTS a specific
Mm-hmm.
recommendation.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Um, I actually did the CD IELTS, the
Mm-hmm.
computer delivered IELTS,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I would suggest that to everyone who are convenient using computers, and for example, they have good typing speed, and
Mm-hmm.
mm, overall they're good in using computers
Mm-hmm.
because that can be much faster than handwriting your
Mm-hmm.
writing. It also includes some features such as copy and paste,
Mm-hmm.
which can benefit your writing
Yeah,
process
yeah,
greatly.
yeah.
And actually, in my own experience, I believe I got at least a half of a point higher
Mhm.
because of the feature of
Exactly. Yeah.
copy and pasting.
You're talking about IELTS writing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was it's usually said that it's better to have balanced paragraphs in your writing, and um, just a minute before the end of the exam,
Mm-hmm.
I saw that one of my paragraphs was
Mm-hmm.
much bigger and much lengthier than the others, and using the copy and paste feature, I was able to handle that situation in just less than a minute. But if
Mm-hmm.
it was handwritten,
Mm-hmm.
mm, it wouldn't be any possible solution for me.
Had you taken the paper IELTS test, you couldn't have done that.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the case in my mock exam too. I did much worse in my mock test compared to my final IELTS test. The other skills was stayed pretty same, but
Mm.
my writing improved hugely. And I think a part of that was just because of the CDIELTS I
Thanks
took.
for sharing that with our audience. And you know, IELTS can be challenging
Hmm.
and fearsome, and to some IELTS candidates, IELTS test takers, CD IELTS, computer delivered IELTS, can be more fearsome than paper IELTS. And
Yeah,
it is pretty natural, but I think usually CD IELTS can help us do better
yeah.
on the exam. So
Mm.
I think, yeah,
At least that was my experience.
yeah, in your case, CD IELTS helped you
Mhm.
do a better job and perform better on test day.
Exactly.
And thanks a lot, Shayan, for
Thanks for
sharing
having
your
me.
advice. And by the way, how can our listeners find you? I mean, on
Uh,
social media, or do you have a website or something?
no, I have no personal website, but on social media, such as Instagram, my username is Shay, Shay, Shakiba.
Mhm.
And I'm available on
Instagram.
Instagram, LinkedIn, Telegram, and a couple of other social medias.
I'll put it in the description, in the
Great.
episode description. Thanks for being here. It was a great interview,
Thanks for your
and
invitation.
I learned a lot, and
Me too.
I hope our listeners find this episode and our interview useful.
Hope
I
so.
hope they find it, you know, informative and an enriching experience.
Hope so.
Um, I wish you all the best, Shayan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.